Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming out to our January meeting of teacher sharing. And today is January 12th, 2026. Our practitioner presenter is going to be Shelby Woods, computer science educator from Sevier County Junior High of Sevier County Schools. So today's agenda is going to welcome an announcement, some updates from the Department of Education from Brandon Smith, and then our practitioners workshop by Shelby Woods, and then resources sharing by John Mullins from Learning Blade, and then closing. So today's updates from Brandon, who's a computer science manager for computer science implementation, has office hours for January 14th from 2 to 3 and January 21st from 2 to 3. And the link will be attached to this PowerPoint and in the chat. All right, Shelby, it is all on you. I can give you hosting privileges to share screen or maneuver with you, however you so choose to want to do this.
If I can share screen, that would be super helpful.
You got it.
All right, let's see. All right, everybody good? Perfect. Okay. So, let's see. Okay. I was laughing at you all, JC, because you all were saying that Becky just kind of gave you the reins and said, go for it. And I feel like she did the same thing to me, but here we are. Um, you're laughing because you know how true that is. She said, hey, do you want to present it January? And I'm like, sure, what do you want me to do? And she never told me. So here we go. I got an email that said, you have 25 minutes. Other than that, this is what you do you. And I'm like, okay, great, Becky, cool. So here we are. I am the new East Tennessee Regional Rep for grades K-8. Super excited. So hopefully we'll get some meetups going soon as Becky gets back and gives us all direction. Otherwise, we're just gonna go full steam ahead and she's just gonna agree. This was all Becky. She put my lovely picture up here. I have been a Kira, Tennessee teacher ambassador now for several years, and I also serve as a computer science program endorsement evaluator. So, if you have your computer science endorsement program, whatever endorsement, and you went through that course, chances are I looked at your papers. So, that's a little bit about me. Becky didn't really tell me what she wanted me to do, but I felt like one of the things that I have just recently learned that I wanted to share with you all was using Canva AI to create computer science activities. And so, if you are not using Canva AI or Canva Code, it is going to be super helpful as you look at creating activities that go along with your Kira lessons, or if you're not using the Kira platform, just creating computer science lessons in general. This has saved me a lot of time as I have looked at implementing computer science in other course areas. I love using Canva AI. And so we are going to look at dropping some of our standards into Canva AI, looking at some things that I have already created, and then we'll just share out. And if there's something you want to look at creating together, we can do that. And okay, so this is sort of what it looks like, and I'm gonna hop over to the Canva platform here in just a minute. But what it does is you insert your prompt and it creates whatever kind of game or interactive activity you want, and you get all of this crazy code, but you don't have to do any of that. It creates the whole activity for you. So I'm going to pop over and show you. This is a matching game that I created. What I did was I took the lesson one, unit one vocabulary words straight from the Kira lesson, dropped them into Canva AI, and told it to create me a matching game. So this is something that got my students outside of the Kira platform, but was still using all of those vocabulary words for them. And so all they have to do is just go in and match. Um, Obviously, I didn't even read, I just clicked match the word to the correct definition, and it will tell them they got it right and mark it out. So one that I'm going to show you is vocabulary trivia. And I am going to take this prompt here and throw it into Canva AI. So if you, I'm going to copy that link over, and you all can still see my screen, correct? Yes, I hope so. All right, so this is what, when you log into Canva, this is what you will see. And you will go to Canva AI. So when you log in, it will take you to the home page, and you'll select Canva AI and then Canva code. And I am just going to paste that text in here. And this was taken, these vocabulary words were taken directly from Kira, Unit 1, Lesson 1. And all I added was this right here, which says create a trivia game with these vocabulary words. Now, this is what's going to happen. It's going to think for a minute, and then it's going to create me now an interactive vocabulary game. Now, this is going to start running all of that behind the scenes coding, and I definitely recommend this is not something that you just want to walk in at 7:45 and expect to use at 8 o'clock. This is definitely do this a couple days in advance so that you can have your game or interactive activity matched to exactly what you want. So while that's running in the background, I actually ran this earlier, and I'm going to show you what I got. So what it will do is once the question loads, um, well, I had to hit start game. So I hit start game, and I have essentially what I would do is break my students up into 5 teams. And so we're looking at a 5-team battle with a trivia game. And so now you can see team one is highlighted. So they will answer this question, and it's counting down a timer here. So they have 30 seconds to answer. Now I'm just randomly going to click. They got it wrong. It's going to highlight in green the correct answer. And when you hit next question, it moves to the next team. So this is a great way to implement that vocabulary. And we're going to hop back on here now, and you can see that my game is finished. So I can hit start game. Now it coded this one a little bit different than the one that I had already ran. My team scores are now at the bottom, and my timer is bigger. And you can see current turn, it's team one's turn. So every time you run your code, your versions may get a little bit different. But I love this just as an interactive activity for students. And so again, these prompts were taken directly from Kira. I just added the create a trivia game. And so with math, I have an example. I ran this for a math teacher. And what I did was this is the Canva website that I ran. This was ran a couple weeks ago. The students were working on equations and solving for X. And so I took his 8th grade math standard, plugged it into Canva AI, and said, create guided notes for me. And so you can see now we have this a fill in the blank activity. The first thing we get is some vocabulary. And then it's going to give them problems to solve for that X and Y or variable coefficient, all of those fancy math terms that I don't really know. That's why I'm not a math teacher. Next, you see some where they can apply their skills. So we're getting some writing and word problems here. And then it actually gives the teacher the answer keys to all of it, which is super helpful for teachers like me. And I just sent this to that eighth grade math teacher and said, here you go. Here's some extra practice using that eighth grade math standard. The one that I did for my science teachers, they were working on some motion and force. And so one of their things was they wanted a science example. And so this is actually Canva AI created this for me. And my science teachers said that there were a few things that they would have asked to do differently. But like I said, I just had the standards and gave Canva AI very limited information. So this is a physics motion demonstrator that went along directly with that standard that you saw. And you can launch the ball, and the velocity position of X and Y here is going to change. You can toggle the gravity, so you can take the gravity on and off, which I thought was pretty cool. So now the gravity is off, and they can see the velocity, speed, direction, all of that good stuff change. And I actually have another prompt. And the reason I'm using these prompts is because I have ran them earlier so that I know that they work. So I'm going to copy this prompt here and go back to my Canva AI. Again, just a walkthrough. You would go home, Canva AI, and Canva code. And then I am going to drop that prompt in here. Now, this is, it came straight from the K-8 computer science standards where students are identifying hardware and software categories. And so what we're going to tell Canva AI to do now is create a fun drag and drop activity for them. And so you can see it runs in the background. Does anyone have any questions that you want to throw in the chat about Canva AI while this is running in the background? Or you can come off mute. You can see we're up to 170 lines of code already. So this is going to run, and I really like showing my students this and actually running some stuff live in front of them if you want, because this shows them, the coding that's behind the scenes, which is super fun. All right, so here we go. So now what students can do is if you wanted to use this in a design, you would just publish it. I like publishing it as a website so that they can actually go in and be interactive with this. And what they're going to do is just now drag and drop to where it's sorted. Okay, so a mouse, we know that that's hardware. It's going to give them, yay, good job, you got it right. Um, freight, whatever. Monitor, hardware, yay, celebration. And it actually keeps track of their score. So they can bring this up to you or submit it to you through a Google Classroom. So I really like this, not only for strictly computer science, but for math and science teachers is you're sharing it out. Here's my computer science sorting one that I ran earlier. I screenshotted it there for you just so you would see. It gave me very similar, the same things. All right, and I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. That way we can see if anyone has any questions about Canva or Canva code. It can create anything from interactive worksheets to interactive slideshows. I recently just used this. Our career explorations teacher had to be out unexpectedly, and I am not a career explorations teacher at all. She does a beautiful job at that, but I put two of her standards in Canva code and told it to create me a PowerPoint to keep students busy for 35 minutes. And it gave them a lot of writing about careers, but that's okay. I didn't have to come up with a lesson plan on my own. So is there any questions about Canva code, or anybody have anything that they would like to share that works or doesn't work about that?
I mean, I don't think I have a question. I just want to say thank you so much for sharing that because I
Yeah.
didn't even know that there was a coding option in Canva, and as much as I'm always on it, so I didn't even know that was a thing. So thank you. I have something to play with now.
Yeah, it's super fun. I mean, I always recommend, like I said, don't try it out like walk into class and try it 5 minutes before until you get really good at prompting the AI. But if you know you want interactive activity or something like that, it's super fun to just create it for you. And you can even use it, like I said, I plugged those math standards in or science standards in for my content area teachers, and it was able to create an activity for them.
I would add to it. I use it in my class as well, and I did it with my students because I wanted them to understand prompt engineering and how to write a prompt. So I had them create games just like you were just talking about, and writing the prompt for that game, and then having to refine it and refine it over and over, which I think was really helpful for them because that's what we do when we're teaching them to write anyway, right? So this is just another way to do it. I also used it to create some skills based things for my kindergarten and my first grade computer classes so that they would be ready to do their testing because they have to drag and drop and things like that. So it created me a whole website where the kids could go and do all of those things. So I'm so glad that you did this today so people are aware of what Canva AI can do because it's very powerful.
Any other questions, concerns, anything else about Canva? Um, Gotta make sure I'm not missing nothing on the slides before I pull it back up. All right. Well, thank you so much, Shelby. Gonna pull back up the slide here. Uh, Slideshow. All right. So research sharing from Learning Blade, Simone Smith, Learning Blade sharing tonight for a follow-up. We're gonna reach out to John Mullen, um, Tennessee State Manager for Learning Blade. Is John here?
My name is Simone Smith. I'm actually
Oh,
presenting on his
I'm
behalf,
sorry.
but
Thank
you
you.
will follow up with John.
Thank you. Thanks for joining
Yeah,
us,
I'm
Simone. It's
just
all.
filling in.
Do I need to give you sharing privileges or how do you want
Yes,
me
may you please
okay,
give me.
yes.
Thank you.
I can stop sharing and do that. This is what happens when you don't read the notes beforehand. Make co-host.
If it's any help, I read them and they weren't that clear. But we won't tell Becky that, so it's
Well,
okay.
it's on the recording now. No.
I know she gonna go watch it. It's okay.
All right. Well, whenever you're ready, you have the host or co-hosting privileges, so it's all on you.
Oh, excited. I got my privileges. All right, we're going to get started here. Please let me know if you all can see my screen okay with my presentation for John's. All right. But thank you all for letting me have the floor. John is a very vibrant and an energetic and exciting presenter. So I'm sorry that you all can't hear from him about Learning Blade today, but hopefully I can do it justice and let you all know about what we offer. We also offer ready for industry resources that I'll share briefly as well, just to kick off all the different resources that you have here in Tennessee. So first off, I just want to say, like, all of John's information is on the screen here. So if you need to reach out to him, you'll be able to follow up with him and he'll give you all of this information from the presentation. So Learning Blade is a STEM, computer science, and CTE career awareness resource. So we're excited to showcase like some of our computer science resources with you all in this meeting. On the next slide, if you need anybody wants to like sign up for an account and get account access, if you already don't have so, this is a way to do so. You can go to www.learningblade.com and I put a QR code on the screen. I'll also just quickly type this in the chat so you can copy and paste it from there as well. But feel free to sign up for your account. Learning Blade is fully funded to all of your educators in the state. So we want to just make sure that you all know that as well. All of our resources in Learning Blade are fully funded. So I did drop that in the chat. I want you all to know why we were created and the vision behind Learning Blade. So, our big motto here at Learning Blade is that you can't be what you can't see. So, we want to make sure that students have that exposure to various careers. So, we introduce students to over 100 careers in STEM. But we also focus on those computer science components, deep diving even into artificial intelligence. So about 94% of middle schoolers are making those career related decisions. So we want to make sure that they have that skill-based knowledge before even making those decisions within working through, those classes and when they're navigating their career exploration. So please feel free to ask questions and let me know if you have any questions throughout this. So for Learning Blade, we have Learning Blade mission. So we have kind of a two-pronged approach. Our approach is that we offer student resources that are tailored towards students' interests. So our program is kind of like a gamified approach, where students really learn about real-world experiences in Learning Blade. But we also have teacher resources as well. We're 5 through 9 standards aligned in all 4 core subjects, but that also includes technology education. So students are really able to deep dive into their learning and they get to learn about how things that they're learning are more relevant, but they're tying it to their digital literacy also. So in Learning Blade, we currently have, that says 400 there, but we have about 500 online resources now. We've released some new missions. We have career videos that students are introduced, but we also have design thinking activities where students can really deep dive into that creative thinking process. And these are all of our offline resources. So we have 500 online independently paced lessons for the students can work on, independently. And then offline, we have, like I said, those design thinking activities. We have challenge projects, so students can work on challenge projects, building hands-on models. We have parent resources and discussions, so students can do projects at home. We also have 3D printing project-based activities and paper crafts. Our students love paper crafts, especially those middle school students. They're able to create models of different careers that they learned about within our program. So I also want to introduce you to all to our 14 missions. So we just released a new mission called Assemble the Fleet. And with our mission, students have a mission and then they have a challenge and they're introduced to various career clusters. So kind of focusing on like with that computer science, we have Hack Attack where students learn methods to protect their school website. We have Rescue Robots where students explore robotics design and they're introduced to electronics and computer science, and Hack Attack, they're introduced to computer science. We also have Flu Outbreak, where students are introduced to information technology. So as you see here, like students engage in real world experiences, but then they're also introduced to various career clusters within Learning Blade. So I wanted to show you all a model of how our lessons look when students go into the program. So this is our one of our lessons, Hack Attack, that I talked about earlier. So we have a thing called tools and teammates. Highlighted here in orange are our different tools that students learn about. That represents the different technologies. And then we have our teammates as well. And those are the different careers that students are introduced to. So you'll notice like for each tool technology, there's a math lesson, an English lesson, a social studies lesson, and a science lesson. So if students are working in like cybersecurity, they're learning about the history. When they're doing an English lesson, they're learning about all of those English language arts components, and we have science and math. So we want to make sure, like we said, we want to make sure that students have that relevant education, and then they're also introduced to those careers in those different fields while they're learning. So each mission that we have takes about 8 to 10 hours. We also offer express missions as well, but we have individual lessons. All of the lessons can be done in isolation. So a teacher, if they're assigning their students to Learning Blade, they don't have to assign that whole mission to take up that 8 to 10 hours. They can assign individual lessons. So if a teacher wants to just kind of focus on like computer science, learning like certain components of that, then they're able to assign those individual lessons. A lot of educators use Learning Blade for bell work, enrichment, to do extended activities. It's a flexible program and it's supplemental, so it can fit into your classroom however you would like it. And teachers really love that idea because they can kind of place Learning Blade anywhere. Like I said, it's independently. Students can work through our online lessons independently. So that gives educators time back, especially from that lesson planning, because all of our lessons are designed and planned out in Learning Blade. So we want to make sure teachers kind of get back that time when they're working through the program. This is just an outline of our new mission. We're really excited about it. We partnered along with the Navy to introduce students like to supply and demand. So there's like new career students are introduced to electricians, marine engineers, robotics technicians, supply chain coordinator. So we work in workforce to make sure students have this opportunities to join in careers that they would have not known about if they weren't introduced to them as early as possible. So that's a new and exciting mission that we have. Um, for students. We also have modules as well. So we have an AI module. It's about 2 to 3 hours of content. And what our AI module does is introduce students to to how to get creative with artificial intelligence, careers in artificial intelligence, and most importantly, the ethics and the safety around using artificial intelligence. So that's one of our models. And we also have our introduction to coding module, very popular. A lot of educators utilize our coding module. This teaches students all about computer hardware, software. They navigate from block-based coding to text-based coding. So by the time they finish our coding program, they learn how to program robots, create apps, and also create games. So this is like a progression chart of what they learn about. They learn how to work in pencil code, the app lab, creating their own codes. So students have a lot of unique opportunities within Learning Blade when learning all of that, digital literacy and technology education. I also wanted to share with you about like those mission challenges that we have. So for each of our missions, students have the opportunity to engage in those offline lessons. So those come with writing prompts, presentation prompts. The lessons have teacher guides. It's all written out for teachers if they're doing any offline lessons. And all of the projects that students are working on, it's common classroom material, so there's no kits that teachers need. They don't require certification to utilize Learning Blade, and everything is included. I talked about our design thinking activities as well. A lot of students get to engage in research on the things that they're learning in Learning Blade. We have discussion questions for educators, a lot of things that are already planned out for them. If they have 3D printer in like a makerspace or in a media center or in their classrooms that they're not using, we also offer those full-on lesson plans as well. So I like to call Learning Blade a one-stop shop, especially if you are a classroom teacher. Just really quickly, I want to just show you all how the dashboard looks when you're logging into Learning Blade. So let me make this full screen and I'll go to my dashboard. So when educators log into their account, they're able to see their Learning Blade dashboard. You have where you can see your students, your classes, and then we also have resources for teachers as well. If you switch to student view, so educators will have a student view and a teacher view. In their student view, they're able to see all of the Learning Blade missions and modules that their students have access to. So I'm just going to quickly go into Hack Attack for you since I kind of showed you a breakdown of that mission. We're logging into the full mission. And in Hack Attack, we have a thing called, in all of our missions, a mission guide. So this introduces your students to all of our different Learning Blade lessons once they're going through the program. And then here's all the tools that I talked about earlier and the teammates. So if we went into cybersecurity, for instance, here's all of those different lessons that your educators will see. We have that science lessons, the business of security, math, the math of security, the history about, are you a target? So they learn all about computer safety. And then for English, breaking the language, learning all of those different ELA concepts. So there's a lesson each of those different core subjects. And if you click into a lesson, we have comprehension questions throughout. So, and they are graded within the program. So your teachers do not have to grade any of our lessons. They can pull reports on their student progress also. So this is called the business of security. We have the questions here at the bottom that your educators will navigate through while they're using Learning Blade. And then we have text to speech for students as well, and then closed captioning on any of our videos that your educators are using. So once they click through, we have visuals for students, all different types of question stems. So they get text prep, test prep as well. We have multiple choice questions, drag and drop questions, all different types of question stems. So here, I already submitted that by accident, but if your students, they have two opportunities to answer a question. So they would read through the question and it will give them feedback. And then once they choose and they go through and look at an answer, I believe that is the correct one there. It'll give them feedback on the question. Once they hit continue and go to the next screen, it's going to tell them why that answer was correct. So we make sure that we want students to be successful when they're going through Learning Blade and learning all this information. So we do provide them feedback on all of the questions that they are being asked. When educators, so I'm just going to exit out of there and go back to the teacher dashboard just very quickly here. So when teachers are going through their classes, it's very simple for them to get students logged on. They'll just create a class here, and then they can put in their class name, select the subject, hit save, and it'll save their class for them. I already have some classes created, so I'm going to go into one of my classes. Teachers are able to create assignments for their students. They're able to look at their class role. They can decide what their students see on the student dashboard. So if they don't want students to see all the missions and you want to select certain missions, they're able to restrict what students have access to so that they can just work on what they have assigned them. And then we also have reports as well. So educators can pull different reports. We have our curriculum reports. They can select the date range on what they want to view for their students in Learning Blade. And then when they hit show report, it's going to show all of their student progress on that report. And educators can also export this into a PDF or an Excel sheet so that they can look at their student progress. We also have a resources tab. In our resources tab here, it's everything educators need to know about Learning Blade. We have classroom integration resources, how to get your students set up, teacher instructions, student instructions. We have all of these offline resources for any lessons that you're missions that you're working on for your students. So if I look into Hack Attack, which showed you all online, we have a design thinking activity, a teacher guide, our mission challenges here, those paper crafts, and the lessons for parents at home. I'm going to click on mission challenge just to show you here really quickly. So on this handout, we have all of our teacher lesson plans. So the teacher guide, if you want to do offline projects, you don't have to, you can always stay and have your students do online activities. But we have the objectives, the description, we have content vocabulary as well. And then everything's written out for educators. We also have demonstration videos if your students are working on like a project within. So here they're creating a wireframe and storyboard for a new app. And we have those demonstration videos for educators. Everything's written out. And then we also have rubrics for all of our offline projects. So we want to make sure that educators can set their students up for success when they're using Blade. So we have everything in the program for you. And like I said, you can always check your student progress on the dashboard. Just to go back to my presentation here, since I kind of showed you that was a quick demo of our dashboard. There's so much in our missions, but I do want to also show you another program that we offer in Learning Blade. I'm sorry, in e-dynamic learning, we also have a program called Ready for Industry that is also available for Tennessee educators. So the director of our Ready for Industry program is Dr. Casey Alvarado, and you can learn more information here. Scan the QR code. Oh, let me go back. This is more for students who are like late high school and throughout adulthood. We have a 20-hour courses that they can get industry certification through NOCTI. So if you have any high school educators who want to introduce Ready for Industry to their students, we have programs that focus on healthcare, manufacturing, logistics, construction, and really importantly here, that information technology. So also, like included in Learning Blade, like I said, we have Ready for Industry. So there's more information there if you would like to learn more about Ready for Industry and Learning Blade. So just to that's kind of all of the presentation that I have. We do have like a survey link here as well. If you want to see more, if you want to if educators want to have like a one-on-one demo, they're able to do that as well, especially with John. But yeah, so all of our Learning Blade resources are offered to you all. I'm just going to go back to what Learning Blade has in it and our toolbox. And let me know if any of you have questions or if anyone who's used Learning Blade in their classroom kind of want to know how you're using it or how you think you could use it. So let me know if you have questions, but that is the end of my quick demo about Learning Blade.
Well, thank you so much, Simone. This was definitely great. Um, I'm not in K-12 right now, so this definitely would have been wonderful for me. If I was still in my K-5 situation and or high school, but I just did a PD for my CTE and computer science teachers here in Weakley County, and this was one of the things that they were asking for was more so career based. So now when I go back with them, I can give them this information and say, hey, here's some more in-depth and detailed situations for you, because they're just now starting out with the computer science. So one of the things that I went over with them was like what the law is and like what does it actually mean and how to teach what you want to according to the law and the
Yes.
standards, because it's very vague. And so they were told and that Kira Learning was the only way to go, and that's what they've been using, and that's the only thing that, the box in the windows that they've been working in the parameters with until I did my PD, and they, opened their eyes and was like they were more excited because they didn't feel restricted. So this is definitely one of the things
Exactly.
I'm going to take back and give them. So thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Please share the information. Like I said, Learning Blade and Ready for Industry is fully funded. So if your educators need more computer science resources, this is definitely both wonderful programs for them. And we appreciate you having us on. John will follow up with you with all of those handouts and those resources and that information. But yeah, again, thank you for letting us join today. We really appreciate it. And I'll put the PD link in the chat as well as we kind of go on. So I'll stop sharing now. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Does anybody else have any questions? Anything they would like to add for either Shelby or Simone about either sharing, or if you've done something this week or this semester that you would like to share tips, tools, and tricks before we end our practitioner sharing? Okay. Well, yes, Simone, if you send that link, I will copy it and send it out. When we send our meeting notes and things, I will make sure that it gets sent out. Um, but if not, no other questions, comments, or concerns. I will give you guys your time. This 15 minutes. You go break, bio break, grab a snack, until our official meeting. Recording. There we go. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us for our chapter meeting on January 12th, 2026. Earlier today we had a great practitioner presentation by Shelby Woods, and what is it? Learning Blades. We're going back into that in a little bit. Once I recap the slides from there. Um, so again, we're gonna go through some announcements and some updates and rec uh-oh. recap the practitioner workshops, or who presented on the practitioners workshops, and then some closing announcements. So Brandon, the computer science manager for implementation, has computer science office hours January 14th and 21st, from 2 to 3 o'clock. So the link will be attached to the PowerPoint when these go out. So if you have any questions, comments, or concerns that you would like to talk to Brandon about, please see him during his office hours. As I said earlier, we had a wonderful practitioner sharing with Shelby Woods of Sevier County Junior High School, in the Magic School AI, and showing us how to utilize Canva's AI to do some things with some nice tips, tools, and tricks. So if you missed that earlier, please make sure when you get those notes and video recaps, you pay attention to that, so you can get those tools from her. And then we also had um, Learning Blade, and it was presented by Simone Smith. And following up will be with John Mullen of the Tennessee State Manager for Learning Blade. It is a career CTE based um, free teacher resource. So if you want to utilize that, gives you more CTE based. There's some computer science things that they've introduced. Really good tips, tools, and tricks for that. See, other reminders and announcements. The TSIN Annual Innovation Summit will be May 4th and 5th at the Gaylord Opryland in Nashville. Proposals are being accepted for those sessions between now and January 26th. And TSIN would love to see the computer science strand with field with some CSTA members sharing great ideas for this summit. So please make sure that you put in a proposal to present and click the link to learn about more information. Um, when looking for places to hold regional meetups after school during March, do you have any favorite gathering places, or would your school let us use it? Reach out to your CSTA officers to let us know, so we can get them scheduled. So I think I can speak a little bit about this because I brought this up to Becky. Last year I think we only had one virtual meetup for the entire year. And I figured we didn't do anything last semester. It was time that we either had something virtual as a collective, as a chapter, not necessarily being a meeting, but just a virtual hangout. But then also needed to do something for the regions. So putting the regions together rather in person or virtual meetup so everybody can hang out, get to know each other, and bond within your regional chapters. So if you know something that you would like to do, either reach out to your regional people or drop something in the chat. We can kind of plan ahead, talk about them, put some ideas together. Even if your school would be willing to host the meeting for the regional teachers in your area, let us know what that looks like. How to get involved in CSTA Tennessee, attend the monthly virtual meetings, engage in the discussions. We need people to work in their region liaison reps. Reach out, help out if you can, if you would like to. We need people to lead the learning session. So if you're interested or know someone who will be interested in leading a regional meeting or the practitioners learning labs that we host before our regular chapter meetings, please let us know so they can reach out and we can send them emails to get someone signed up. Also, our next meeting will be, what is this, February 9th? I think she already has somebody in place for that. Next practitioners meeting will be led by Jessica Holloway of Hamilton County Schools. She's an instructional coach and author and a ISTE presenter, and she'll be sharing how to customize AI tools like creating Gemini gems to help your workflow and creativity better. But then also, if you are planning to go to CSCA National Conference in New Orleans. The early bird deadline, I believe, was yesterday. Yes, I believe the early bird registration was due yesterday. So you can catch the regular registration between now and when the I'll look that up and put it in the notes for Becky to send you all. Um, But be looking out for the national conference that is in New Orleans, and I believe those dates are July 13th through the 15th. And then the year after New Orleans, so 2027, we will be going to California, and I believe there's supposed to be something paired with Disney, if I am not mistaken. Um, so there's ways to get involved. Please make sure that you do the proposal to present, rather it is for TSIN or CSTA as a national organization. We do offer presentations and presenters as well. Um, but if there's nothing else, I will end this slide. And if there's either questions, comments, or concerns, I will hang out for a second before ending the recording. And then I'll dismiss. Any questions?
I just dropped it in the chat, but do you know if there's a discount on registration if you're presenting?
That I'm not 100% sure. I can give this question back to Becky, being that she is a part of TSIN, and let her answer that because I don't want to tell you yes or no and be wrong. But that is a valid good question. I would, if I'm presenting, do I delegate count? Yes, I would love to know that. I would love to know that as well. Anybody else? Any other questions? Anything I can answer? Do y'all have an idea of where y'all want to go in y'all's regional meetups?
I would be game to do something here, but I don't know that we could get too many people down to Fayetteville. Because we're like right by the state line in Middle Tennessee, right
Look,
above Alabama.
let me stop this recording. We can have a casual conversation. Let me end the
Okay.
meeting. Hold on. Stop recording.